quite nicely from the 32 it was this morning. Give me just a minute. I'm still letting people in and then we'll kick this party off. While we're waiting, let me know what the temperature is where you're at. Drop it in the chat. Are you at least above freezing or are you below freezing? 36. All right, you're above freezing, Shannon. You made it. You are above the freezing mark. It started this morning here in Northeast Florida when my son and I left the house to head to the gym. It was 32 on the thermostat, so it's warmed up quite a bit. I see Kim's above freezing. 29 in Cincinnati. Okay. A little chilly in Deb's neck of the woods. Did you see, Deb, I know you're not super close. I saw all the news about this meteor that was streaking across the sky yesterday in Ohio. Did you see all that? Did you see any of that?
No, we always
No?
miss them. We go out there and look, and then you stand there, and sometimes it's cloudy, but we
Yeah.
try. I always keep an eye on what's in this. I love those
Gotcha.
things.
That was a big buzz on the news today, and everyone was like, "Why didn't NASA warn us?" And I'm like, "Probably because it was too small for them to care. Probably like they can't track everything." Yeah,
Right?
that's funny. And then I haven't seen any real news reports of it, but I saw just a couple of posts on Facebook. Apparently, somebody caught like a fireball in California as well. So I'm like, well, maybe there's like a small shower that pushed through and nobody was watching. I don't know. All right, a couple more people that I'm letting in here, and then we're kicking this party off since it's officially 10:02. Time to get the day going. All right, Misa, if you would be so kind as to just watch the folks coming in. And if you see anybody looking to come in the next minute or two, just go ahead and let them in. I'd like the 5 minute mark. They're late. They don't even need to come in. It's totally up to you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. I know I haven't been on these in a while. I'm glad that you all are jumping on with me. We're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects today. And if you like making money, this should be one of your favorite subjects. We are going to talk about how to work properly with for sale by owners and landlords to generate a perpetual cycle of business for you. There are so many great ways to use this strategy. And a lot of people think, oh, FSBO, that's a listing. And that's true. Like you will list FSBOs at some point, but there's other business that gets built with this strategy as well, even if you don't wind up listing that particular for sale by owner. So it's a really, really fun strategy to use. I've been doing it for years. Most of you on the call know me. I'm a multi-year power agent. I sell a lot of houses, blah, blah, blah. One of the core strategies that I have always executed in my business ever since I got my real estate license was working with for sale by owners and landlords to generate business for myself. It is tried and true. I've done it in every single market. I've done it in multiple states. I've done it in hot sellers markets. I've done it in really, really tight buyers markets. There's really no downside to this. So I'm going to give you everything you need today to go execute the strategy for yourself, and you can put it into practice and see exactly what I'm talking about. So let's do a little screen share here. Give me a quick thumbs up if you guys can see my slides. Beautiful. Thank you. I saw a couple of you. All right. So this is the subject today, how to create a perpetual cycle of business with FSBOs and landlords. I say perpetual because if you execute this strategy, there's really never a market that it doesn't work in. There's never an opportunity that you can't use it effectively. Again, I've used it in multiple states. I've used it for several years in a row in hot markets and slower markets. When it's a really, really tight seller's market, there's ways that you use this for your buyers to get them under contract faster. When it's a little bit of a slower market and you're looking to get more listings and drum up more business, you can use this strategy for that as well. It is an absolutely phenomenal way to just do business as a real estate agent. So quick question, drop it in the chat. I'm just curious. We'll go through that afterwards. In the last 30 days, how many FSBOs or landlords have you reached out to? I'm just curious to kind of see where we're at. If some of you are kind of piecemealing it, if you've never done it, I'm going to guess that a lot of them will probably be zero before I ever even look in the chat. So I see a few of you said three. Yep, 0, 0, 3, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, I see a couple of you have mentioned, a couple, 5 or 6. Got it. Now, Shannon, I want to hold on to those words that you just put in the chat. I've never cold called. I'm going to explain to you as we go through this presentation why this is not cold calling. And you're going to go, well, I don't know them and they don't know me. So that sounds like a cold call. I hate the word cold calling. It's no pun intended, it's very cold, right? It's like it's this dark, mysterious, like negative thing. And that's not how this strategy works. It's not negative, it's not salesy, it's not high pressure. So I truly don't even look at this as cold calling. I look at this as just a professional trying to help people in my market, and the ones that want the help take the help. The ones that don't want the help, they say no, thank you, and I move on. There's really no pressure to this at all. It's a really actually a fun way to do business through just good quality, genuine relationships and adding value. So we'll talk about that as we go through it. It is not a salesy approach at all. All right. This particular strategy is going to be for agents who maybe you've looked at FSBOs, right? Maybe you're bored one day, you're on Zillow, you're on Realtor, you're on Facebook Marketplace, and you kind of scroll through some and you're like, I'm not even going to bother. They hate agents. They don't want to work with an agent. They've already decided that they're going to do it on their own. So there's no point reaching out to them. If that's your mindset, this is going to be kind of a clarity moment, because I hope by the end of this presentation, you'll understand why that's just not truly the case. If you're tired of relying on expensive lead generation platforms, right? This is a phenomenal strategy to grow business at zero cost. I have personally never paid for lead generation my entire career, not even the very first year I was in real estate. I've always built my business organically, no lead gen, just how do I help people? How do I build relationships? And this is one of those core strategies that I've always used. And then if you know that consistency works, and so you understand conceptually, like, I got to do some stuff, I got to work for my money, but I just don't quite know what to do, how to do it. What does that system even start to look like? This will help you put a plan together that will walk you step by step through exactly how to execute the strategy. For those who've ever heard me talk, you know that I'm not a philosopher. I'm not a big fan of like fluff and flowery words and these big high level anecdotes. And then you leave going, wow, that sounded great, but I didn't learn anything. I don't know what to do. I like to be very practical. I like to give you everything that you need to go execute the strategy. And so I just teach exactly what I do. I don't ever teach something that I don't do, because maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. If I haven't proven it myself, I'm not going to bother with it. So by the end of this and the resources that I will give you, you will literally have every single thing you need to go put this into practice. All right. As always, 4 commitments on the call. I'm going to move through these pretty quickly. I actually just skipped really fast. I didn't mean to. Video on, unless you are driving naked or driving naked, turn your video on. We want to see your smiling face. It's so much more fun to interact with each other when we can see who we're talking to. And then when we get, if we have time, we may or may not have time towards the end of this. If we get time to do breakout rooms, obviously we want to interact together. We want to see your face. Participate. Don't be distracted. Be engaged. Put your phone face down. Turn it on silent. Put the dog outside and let them sit for 35 minutes. Be present so that you can learn what you need to learn, because it's really hard to go practice something that you didn't actually learn. Participate, jump into the chat, be engaged. When we do a breakout room, play along. And then lastly, once you've got this down, right, and you may not do it today, but if you put this into practice and you're like, wow, this actually works, don't be greedy with that knowledge, right? Go share this with other people. Knowledge is meant to be given away, right? We do this for free so that you can go do it for free and the next people can do it for free. And the goal eventually is that the real estate industry as a whole is just better because we have professionals out there knowing how to do things right. So share what you learn. Okay. The needs to change moment, you've all seen this before. I'm not going to read through this whole thing. What I just want to say is, if you are not where you want to be in your business, you will find out that this strategy will help you get there. If you think working with for sale by owners or landlords has to be some high pressure sales script, I have to overcome all the objections, I have to know every angle because they're going to be, kind of confrontational, and I have to overcome that. That is not what this is going to be. We're going to teach you how to lead with value, how to grow your business while helping others. And just as a byproduct of building great relationships and nurturing the value that you add, you're going to do great business in lots of different ways. We'll talk about the different ways that business comes to you. So at the punchline, the last little bullet there, when you stop treating FSBOs like a listing appointment and you start treating them like people who need help, things start to change. You're going to notice that as we go through this, my approach to FSBOs is not let me call them and convince them to list their house with me. It is so far from that that it's almost counterintuitive because I list a lot of FSBOs. I sell a lot of FSBO houses. They start with FSBOs and they're listing with me, but I never even asked for the listing. It's because the approach that we're using is genuine and it has real value attached. And ultimately what happens is you build a relationship where they want to ask you to help them do what they can't do for themselves. It's a lot of fun that way. All right. So hopefully you can all relate to that. You do not have to drop an X in the chat. We'll move right through that. I'm going to move pretty quick into this because there are some pieces and parts that we have some meat and potatoes to get to. Okay. So one FSBO or landlord at a time. We're going to focus primarily on the FSBO side. There is a FSBO piece to this component as well. Or I'm sorry, a landlord component to this as well. A lot of people completely miss the landlord piece. It's another great way to do business and get listings and work buyers. There's a script for that separately in the resources as well. If we have time, we'll dive a little bit deeper into the landlord section. The landlords is kind of a no-brainer. If you just approach it with the script that I give. And then 99% of what you would do with a FSBO, you also can do with a landlord. So they're going to be very similar, just a slightly different conversation to start the relationship. All right, now this is the fun stuff. As you guys know, I'm a nerd, right? All the data points are stuck up in here. I can tell you every single statistic about real estate. 87% failure rate in the first 5 years, 80% failure in the first 2 years, and an agent is licensed. All of the nuanced stuff is in my brain. My favorite statistic is this one. This is actually from 2024 NAR survey of FSBOs. So this is not anecdote. This is not someone's opinion of roughly what the numbers look like. This is the National Association of Realtors. They actually go out and they survey FSBOs and they acquire data on what that looked like. In 2024, that's the most recent stats we have at the moment. 93% of for sale by owners eventually listed their house with an agent in order to get it sold. Let that sink in for a minute. If you had a 93% odd of success, I'd move to Vegas. I would never leave the casino. 93% chance of success. I'll take that bet all day long, right? Well, the stats are the stats. 93% of them are going to list with an agent. Now, you might think, well, not all 93% of them are going to list with me. Sure. Because how does real estate work? We all know this conceptually. People work with those that they know, like, and trust. Okay, so you don't have to convince a FSBO that you're better than the other agents. You just have to be the person that the FSBO knows, likes, and trusts when they make the decision to list their house. That's what this strategy is all about. Okay. And then again, most agents actually ignore FSBOs altogether, right? We talked about it at the beginning. They have this mentality of, well, they've already decided they're not going to list with an agent. They don't like agents. I've literally heard agents say to me, well, I don't want to be screamed at. I'm like, I was going to scream at you. Why would you think they'd scream at you? Well, they hate agents. Why do you think they hate agents? Well, I just heard somewhere. I'm like, okay, we blow things up in our own mind when we don't know. I have never been cussed out by a FSBO. I've never been screamed at by a FSBO. I've been doing this for years. I've worked with literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of FSBOs. I've never once has someone cuss me out, screamed at me, hung up the phone on me, threatened to call the police on me, like all these silly things that you hear. None of that is accurate. So that works in your favor, though, because that fear keeps a lot of agents from even bothering to reach out to FSBOs. And of the few that do, they have a very strict, salesy, like go in hard and try to convince them that they're wrong and they should do it my way. And that's not super effective anyway. So the way that we teach this is very, very different, even from the few agents that actually do reach out to FSBO. So you're going to find that there's very little competition in this. And when you do it the way that we teach it, it is not salesy. It is not high pressure. It is fun. You're adding real value to people. And at that point, the natural course of human relationships just take over. And eventually, when they decide to list their house, you're the friend they want to work with. It's so much fun that way. All right, let's keep trucking. Before I move on. I just want to double check the chat, make sure I didn't miss anything crazy. I don't want to get too far buried in the chat, so bear with me 1 second. Let me just take a peek. Okay, cool. I just want to double check and make sure I didn't miss anything great. All right. It's not about chasing people who don't want you or don't want to work with you, right? This is about showing people who don't yet understand the value that a real professional agent can bring to the table, what that value really looks like. And eventually it builds the trust that allows the FSBO to reach out to you and say, hey, Walt, we really got to get this move going, man. What would it look like if you just listed this for us? Right? You will literally, I'm not making this up because, again, I'm just teaching you what I do. You will have for sale by owners reach out to you when they make the decision to list with an agent, and they will flat out ask you, would you sell this for us? What would it look like if you just listed this for us? Could we have a conversation about you potentially marketing this for us or selling this for us? They literally will ask you to list their property when they're ready if you follow this strategy. And in the meantime, as you are waiting for them to make the decision, because some of them are super fast and some of them take longer, you will be building your business, building your brand, generating more buyers, generating more listings. You will literally grow your business whether you list the FSBO or not, and then you'll wind up listing a bunch of FSBOs as well. Super, super fun. All right. So step one, we got to know where to look, right? We got to find the FSBO before we can have the conversation with them. So do me a favor, drop it in the chat. Where do you think the most likely place to find a FSBO might be? I'm just curious to see kind of where everyone's brain is at. I'm gonna share some ideas on the next slide of where I kind of have historically found them, but I'm just curious to kind of see what everybody thinks about the most likely places to find them. All right. Zillow, Facebook, driving or Zillow, driving, Facebook, driving or Zillow. Oh yeah, Zillow, Facebook, Zillow. You guys are crushing it. So I'm going to pick on Zillow for a month. FSBO.com, and Shannon is another one, absolutely. I'm going to pick on Zillow for a minute because I'm going to guess that of the 50-ish people on this call, most of you probably share my opinion of Zillow, which is they kind of suck at what they do. Right? I love their map feature, right? Their estimates are hot garbage. I don't like that they're trying to take my business, but there's something that Zillow is really, really great about, and that is aggregating data, especially as it relates to for sale by owners and for rent. So whether you're looking at for sale by owner or whether you're looking at for rent, Zillow is a great place to start. It is a phenomenal spot to start. There's a ton of data there. Now, side note, if you're at Epic, we do this for you. You don't actually have to go find the FSBOs because we put them right in the lead ponds. You can actually go into your lead pond in your CRM and just sort by FSBOs, and you can just use this strategy right from the CRM. That's going to do two things. One, saves you a little bit of time having to find them yourself. Two, all of the data is already in your CRM. So you don't have to manually go add people into your CRM and put some notes in there and set some follow-up dates on there. It's already there. So if you're going to work FSBOs and you're at Epic, just use the lead pond that's already built out for you. That way they're already in your CRM, and it's one less step to make sure you're maintaining good contact, right? Just a side note. For everybody else, Zillow is my #1 spot. When you go to Zillow, again, what I really like about Zillow is their map search, right? So let's say I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm not, but I'm just use that as an example. And I can draw a map around, let's call it a 30-minute radius around Atlanta, Georgia. And then I simply go into the for sale section. I look at the filters, and I want to uncheck every seller type except owner posted. That's what they call it right now. Zillow calls it owner posted. I don't want new construction. I don't want foreclosures. I don't want agent listed. I just want owner posted. And that will give me a specific radius that I am willing to work within, and all of the for sale by owners in that radius. That is literally the #1 spot I find them. Facebook Marketplace can be great as well, but what you might find on Marketplace, it's a little bit harder sometimes to delineate what's for sale by owner and what's just a good quality agent marketing their listings. Like I teach people to market their listings in Marketplace as well. And so there's a little more sorting and filtering that happens there. There's no way to manually sort Marketplace by agent or owner posted. Zillow is great for that, right? So literally I'd say 95% of the FSBOs, I'm going to find them on Zillow or because I drove across a yard sign. Marketplace, Craigslist can still be great, but again, some agents are posting on Craigslist as well, so it might be a little harder. And then there's some ancillary kind of, I'll call them third-party sites. They're not near as big, but FSBO.com, ForSaleByOwner.com. If you're in or around a military base, there is MilitaryByOwner.com. And then there's a great site that it's gotten popular in the last couple of years. It's called FizBonanza.com. What I don't like about FizBonanza is they don't have a great track record of removing the old stuff. So you'll want to just make sure you're looking at the newest stuff first, because sometimes you could have something a month old and it's not accurate anymore. Zillow obviously does a much better job of, if something sells, the owner can post that it sold and it'll come off. So the data is going to be a little more accurate if you just start with Zillow. Okay. And you can do that same thing for landlords, right? You can go Zillow, do your map search in the area that you know you want to service, and go for rent. You will find some kind of corporate property management rentals in there as well, but it's pretty easy usually to tell the difference between an individual private landlord because of how they have the write-up and what data they're showing. So that's a little bit easier. James, I see your hand went up, buddy. What you got?
Hey, can you spell the one you just mentioned? You say Fizz?
Yeah,
Right?
I'll drop it in the chat. Yeah, it's
Okay,
Fizz.
thank you.
Oh, Bonnie beat me to it. Yep, there you go. It's Fizz Bonanza with Z's. Fizz Bonanza. Yep. And then Kamar said Facebook gives you email and phone number. Zillow will usually list the phone number because the owner puts the number in there directly. So yes, you absolutely get the phone number on Zillow as well. Yard signs are great. It's one of my favorites. The fun thing about yard signs is if you see a yard sign, and then you might do this exercise, you'd be amazed how often this happens. You might not even find it online anywhere. The yard sign might be their only marketing, and that is a tried and true way to know that they're going to need some help because they're not going to sell it from a yard sign. It's just not going to happen unless they're in a highly populated, very dense area where there's traffic coming through. It's very, very tough to sell a house with a yard sign. All right, so that's some of the places that you can find the FSBOs. Again, step one, literally just go to Zillow, map search, start there. The military site is militarybyowner.com. Militarybyowner.com if you're in a military base area. All right, let's keep going because I know we got limited time and I want to be very respectful of all y'all's time. Step two. When we find the FSBO or the landlord that we want to talk to, we have to be particular about how we start the conversation because the goal is to show real value. It is not to convince them that you're the best agent in the market, or statistically speaking, they can't do this on their own, or I can fetch a higher price, or wouldn't it make sense to sell with a professional, blah, 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 blah. You don't want to do that. I'm gonna show you and tell you how I start my conversations with FSBOs, and this might sound like you might go, there's no way that he actually does that. 100% this is actually how I do it. And you'll see it in the script that I'll put in the resources when we're done with the call. When I call a FSBO, two things are super important to start the conversation right. One, I want to start the conversation on a positive note. And so I'm going to use human psychology. If a person says yes to you, they are more likely to say yes to you again and have a positive experience. If a person says no to you, they are more likely to say no to you and have a negative experience. So I want to give them the opportunity right from the start to say yes to me and set the tone for a positive experience. And this is how I do that. Very, very simple, but you don't want to miss this. Ring, ring, right? They say hello. I say, hi, is this the owner of 123 Main Street? I know they are. I'm literally looking at their property online right now. I know that that's their house. It's their phone number. Unless I accidentally fat fingered it, I already know that's a yes. But it's an easy yes for them to say yes to. Is this the owner of the house? Yes. Wonderful. And is that still for sale right now? I know it is. I'm looking at it. There's a very high probability that this is still for sale right now. But I'm asking it because I know they can say yes 99% of the time. Yes, it is. And then the third one is, and you're trying to sell that for sell by owner right now, is that correct? At some point in those 3 questions, you will probably get a who's this? Whenever that happens, just move along in the script that I'm going to give you. But I asked those 3 questions first because it's yes, yes, yes. Now we're starting the conversation on a positive note. Now, here's another very, very important piece of this. Because again, human psychology. For the FSBOs, the only agents that typically call them, because again, most agents don't call, but some do, right? As a percentage, it's a low percentage. But when you're the one FSBO and a dozen agents call you, it can be annoying, right? And they're all salesmen, they're all schmucks, they're all trying to convince you to do something you don't want to do. It's just not a very good conversation. And that's why people get this misunderstanding that FSBOs just hate agents. They don't hate agents, they're just annoyed by the calls of crappy agents. So we want to flip that right around. So the moment they say, who's this? Tell them who it is, but watch what happens here. Hey, this is Walt Key. I'm a local realtor here in Keystone Heights. Hey, before we go any further, do me a personal favor. Take a deep breath. I realize you're probably getting bombarded with calls from other real estate agents trying to convince you to do the one thing that I know you don't want to do, which is list your house with a realtor. If it's okay with you, I don't even want to talk about listing your house. Is that okay? And they go, the wiring short circuits, right? Because I already addressed the number one concern, which is, oh my God, another realtor, here we go. We're going to address the elephant in the room right away. We're going to explain to them, one, I realize what you're dealing with. I know you're getting bombarded with other calls from agents trying to convince you to do something you don't want to do. That is not why I'm calling. And I literally will say, I don't even want to talk about listing your house. Is that okay? And they go, why are you calling me then? Right? Now they're interested. They want to know why I'm calling them because I've already crushed the one objection they had, which is here's another salesman. And now we can have a real value-based conversation. Okay. What you will see in the scripts and in the resource Google Drive that I'll leave you is we're just going to walk through a list of value propositions. And you can take that as far as they will let you. And the moment they say, no, thank you, that's fine. Do everything else, right? So what I tell the FSBOs, because it's true for me, and if it's not for you, you can adjust the script a little bit. Because I call FSBOs every week, I tell the FSBOs, listen, I just love helping people. And one of the ways that I help people in my market is by calling for sell by owners weekly and seeing if I might be able to offer a little bit of value at no cost to them in order to help them sell their house on their own. Can we have a 10-minute conversation about that? No pressure, right? Not trying to convince you to do anything. I like helping people. You're the next in line for me to try to help. Can we have a conversation about how I can help you? I've already told you I don't want to list your house, so that's off the table. Now I just want to see if I can help you on your own. And then when they say yes to that, we just start walking through a very logical, structured value proposition, right? And so I always tell them the first question is almost a joke, right? Because we already know the answer is yes, 99% of the time. In all of my years working with for sale by owners, I've only had 2 ever not say yes to this. Literally 2, only say not yet. When I say, well, let's start with the obvious. Are you open to working with a buyer's agent if I brought you a qualified buyer and a great deal on your house? In all of the FSBOs I've ever spoken to, only 2 have ever said, no, I'm not working with any agents at all. Okay, great. Have a nice day. Good luck. Moving on. I'm not here to convince someone to do something they don't want to do. 99.9% of for sale by owners, they already know they're going to pay a buyer's agent. They are going to have another agent on the other side of the transaction. They know that. They're just trying to save a little money by not having a listing agent. So don't be afraid to ask them right up front. Are you open to working with a buyer's agent if I brought you a qualified buyer and a great deal on the house? Sure, absolutely. Bring me a buyer. Wonderful. That's what I'd love to do. If I'm going to find you the right buyer, would it be okay if I did a little proactive marketing of your house to find, vet, and qualify the right buyers? And then when I find the right one, I'll call you back and schedule an appointment to see it. I don't want to waste your time until I know they're the right buyer. Can I market your property to find the right buyer? Sure. Do whatever you got to do. Knock yourself out. No big deal. Great. Since I'm going to do some marketing to find you the right buyer, would it be okay if I met you at the house for 10 or 15 minutes at some point this week? What I'd love to do is get a little bit of video content, because in this type of market, video content drives better engagement, which will then lead to a bigger buyer pool that I can vet and screen to make sure we find the right buyer. Could we meet for 10 or 15 minutes just so that I can do a quick walkthrough and get some video content? Sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. Well, listen, if I'm going to market your property anyway to find the right buyer, I'm guessing I'll probably find multiple buyers at the same time. Would it be okay if I hosted an open house for you one weekend in the near future? And that way, what I'll do is it'll save us time having to do individual showing requests and mess up your schedule. I'll just wrangle it all, and I'll bring everyone to the house at the same time on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon. Would that be okay? Sometimes I say yes, sometimes I say no. We're going to walk that value line down and this is all in the script that I'll give you. We're going to walk that value proposition as far down as we can until they say, no, that's okay. I don't need you to do that. Okay, no problem at all. No open house. If you ever change your mind, you let me know. But in the meantime, I'll be marketing the property, vetting the buyers, finding the right one so we can get this deal done for you. Okay, cool. At the last thing, I'm always going to ask them on the call. I saved this for the very last thing. When we're kind of wrapped up, we've walked through all of those value propositions. Now, mind you, too, let me take a quick side note. As you're having this conversation with the seller, take the off ramps when you find them. And this is conversation 101, right? What I mean by off ramps is if you're asking the buyer some questions about the house, how long have you lived there? Tell me more about this. When did you update that? When you ask those questions, you might hear something that is personal. We're downsizing because the kids have moved on, or we need a bigger house because we've got more kids, or I have a new job that I'm moving to, so we have to sell this and go, right? Whatever that is, take those off ramps in between the value proposition questions to get to know them better, right? Especially if there's something in common. If they say something like, we're going to be downsizing because all the kids are off to college now, we just don't need all this space. Oh, that's awesome. I've got 3 kiddos and 2 of them are in college. How old are your kiddos? What are they studying? Where are they studying? That's super exciting, right? Don't miss the opportunities to build the relationship as you walk through the script. Now, those aren't built into the script because they're very, very unique and they're personal to each client or each seller. But you should be doing this with every conversation you have. You should be layering in the business value as you build the rapport and build the relationship. So don't miss those opportunities. Okay. The last thing I asked them about as we're wrapping up the call. Thanks so much. I appreciate your time. This was super fun. I'm excited to work with you. One more thing before I let you go. When you find the right buyer, whether I bring them or you find them somewhere else, finding the buyer is just the first step in a multi-step, very complicated legal process called selling a house. I'm not sure if you've done this before on your own, but there's a lot of legal pieces. There's a lot of potholes you can fall into. There's some legal requirements. There's timelines. There's inspections. There's contingencies. There's contract law. And I know it's complicated because I do this every day, but I built a 31-page for sell by owner guide that will walk a seller through every single aspect of the home sales process. Would you like a copy of that? No cost. Just let me know the best email address to send it to, and I'll send it over to you as soon as we hang up. That guide is 2 things: tremendously valuable and a little daunting to someone who doesn't understand the full scope of what it takes to sell a house. And that guide can help walk them through some things, but it can also overwhelm them and make them think, maybe this is more than I really want to dive into on my own. Maybe I've bitten off a little bit more than I can chew here now that I understand everything involved here. So use that guide as a value proposition at the end of the call, email it over to them. That's going to be super important. Okay. Let me, before I keep going on follow-up, let me check the chat. Philosophy, yes. Psychology is super important. Open house. Ford questions. Exactly, Rhonda. The Ford stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. I like to use an acronym called FROG, but it basically means the same thing. I'm a former Navy SEAL, so I like frogs. Family, recreation, occupation, goals. It means the same thing. If you've learned Ford, family, occupation, recreation, dreams, means the exact same thing. Be friendly, be engaging. When you hear something, jobs, kids, dogs, college, upsize, downsize, closer to the grandbabies, any of that, that should be a little radar ping in your brain that says, let me stop the script and just go deeper. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Tell me more about the job. Where is it at? How long have you been at your previous job? What makes you want to make the change, right? Just take that rabbit hole as far as you can and then bring it back to the value proposition. And when you hear those off ramps, take those off ramps. That's how you build real relationships with people so that you are the friend they know when they need real estate services. That's how you, and that's any client. That's not just a FSBO. That's how you build great rapport. So great point there, Rhonda. Okay, now here's where most agents fail miserably. And I mean, in every aspect of their business, they fail miserably. This step cannot be missed. You have to do this. You have to follow up consistently. Here's some real nerdy stats. These are from a couple years ago. 92% of salespeople, that's not just realtors, but that's any sales business. 92% of salespeople follow up once or never. But 80% of closed sales require at least 5 attempts, and sometimes as much as 12 attempts. So imagine that for a minute. 92% of salespeople follow up never or one time, but 80% of closed sales happen somewhere after the 5th attempt. The reason you're not closing deals is because you're not following up. And a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to seem annoying. I don't want to pester them. I don't want to hound them. You're not. You're not. Most people think they're over communicating when they are under communicating. It is very, very hard, like genuinely very, very hard to actually over communicate. So when you're thinking maybe I've touched base with them too much, you probably haven't. It's probably not enough still. So your follow-up is super critical. Now, here's how I like to set up the follow-up with a FSBO. I'm going to give you a little hat trick. I'm going to do it from this slide just because you'll understand why, because it's part of the piece. When we're marketing their property, one of the greatest ways to market their property, Facebook Marketplace. If you've ever heard me talk about Marketplace, if you've ever been in our 100K in 100 Days Challenge, you understand what I'm talking about already. We're going to market the FSBO in Facebook Marketplace and in our local Facebook groups. We're going to plaster it all over the place. Facebook Marketplace will give you statistics on that listing every single week. This is how many people looked at it. This is how many people shared the link. This is how many people saved it as a favorite. This is how many people watched the video if you did video content. You have metrics on that specific property every single week. What do you think the follow-up's going to sound like when I follow up with that FSBO I'm marketing every single week? I'm just going to use the metrics. You don't have to invent something. You don't have to figure out, well, what am I going to say to this guy when I call him back? I don't know. Hey, John, it's Walt. We talked last Friday. I just wanted to give you a quick update on the marketing that I'm doing for your house. I have had about 315 people look at the marketing this week alone. About a dozen conversations got sparked. I'm still sifting through those to qualify them. No serious buyers just yet. Had about 14 people save it as their favorites, and I've had 37 people watch the video content that we built just this week. How'd it go for you? Did you get any calls? Did you do any showings? Right? What's happening here is every time I call them back, hey, John, this is what I'm doing for you, and here's my trackable, verified metrics of success. How'd it go for you? Not as good as me? Okay, well, I'm not going to say that to them, right? They're going to say, well, I got a couple calls, mostly investors want to offer me 50%. Yeah, I get that, man. Investors do that. Keep at it. You're doing great. Encourage them. And then at the end of the call, this is every single call. Simple question. Hey, John, before I let you go, is there anything else I can do for you right now? No, we're good. All right, man. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll talk to you soon. 1 week later, I'm going to call them back. Hey, John, it's Walt again. I just wanted to give you a quick update, man. 317 people looked at it, 37 people saved it. I sparked 15 conversations, still vetting them. Got a couple over with my lender right now, getting pre-qualified. Bum. How'd it go for you, man? What'd your week look like? Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Hey, man, keep at it. You're doing great. Hey, before I let you go, is there anything else I can do for you right now? No. Okay, great. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll talk to you soon. The follow-up is so super simple. Now, you can spread in more follow-up, right? You can text them if there's like this. It was just St. Patty's Day, right? Would have been great if you had some FSBOs that you were working with. Just send them a text on Tuesday with a little, clover or leprechaun or whatever. Happy St. Patty's Day. Hope you have a great day. Or you got anything planned, right? Just engage with them. Super friendly, right? But at a bare minimum, once a week, you have a built-in follow-up mechanism that will build your credibility, show that you're working for them, show them statistics of your success, and then you simply ask, how's it going for you? And you're slowly planting the seed that, Walt's getting more traction than I am. And then you end the call with, is there anything else I can do for you right now? Now, here's where this gets fun. You will never hear me say, do you want me to list this? Would it make sense if I just listed this for you? Hey man, do you want to talk about me selling this for you? You'll never hear me say that in my FSBO conversations. It's always, here's what I'm doing for you. Here's how it's working. How's it going for you? Is there anything else I can do for you right now? And then what happens, it happens to me a lot, is when the FSBO makes the decision to list their house with an agent, I'm the one they ask because I'm the only one helping. I'm the only one showing my real value. I'm the only one following up every week to let them know I'm still engaged with you, brother. We're still trying to get this done. And so what happens is the FSBO, either in response to that specific question, or they'll literally just call me in the middle of the week when they've made this decision. And they'll say, hey, Walt, look, man, we're about to close on a new house. We really need to get moved. What would it look like if you just listed this for us? And then you're just like, oh, well, yeah, sure. I'm happy to have that conversation. Would you like to meet at the house and I'll just kind of walk through my overall marketing strategy? We can talk about it. Yeah, that sounds great. When can we do that? What's good for you? I'm open Tuesday afternoon or Thursday afternoon. All right, Tuesday it is, right? They will ask you to list the house. It's crazy how that works. Let me check the chat real quick as we go. Felicia said, I sold my first property on Facebook Marketplace. Nice. I love that strategy. It works so good. Would the brokerage be okay with agents putting FSBO advertising on Facebook? If your broker says you can't market a listing with someone's permission, find a new broker. I'm seriously. You are an independent contractor running a business. Your broker should not be hampering you. There is zero law anywhere that says you cannot market a for sale by owner with their permission, nor is there any law anywhere that says you can't market another agent's listing with their permission, So if your brokerage is saying, well, I've never heard of that, so I don't want you to do it, they've got the wrong mindset. You need to go to a brokerage that is here to help you grow because they're going to hamper your business. I'm not trying to pick on whoever your brokerage is, but that is the wrong mindset to have. And if they don't know that you can market a FSBO on Marketplace to generate business for you, what are they taking your money for? What are they doing for you? That's a little side tangent. Do you tell them your data is from Marketplace? I tell them it's on social media because it's going to be Marketplace. It's going to be Facebook groups in our local community. It's going to be other locations. It's not just Marketplace. You can, you don't have to lie to them. Like I just tell them social media because that kind of encompasses it all. And I always tell them like I have a pretty big, because it's true. Again, I'm not lying to them. I have a pretty big social media presence. So I have hundreds of thousands of views on my own Facebook profile every month. So I just say social media. Simple. Should we get written permission to open? Yeah, if you're going to do the open house for a FSBO, yes, you want their permission. What I like to do, again, if I'm not bringing a buyer to their house, we don't have to have a direct conversation about listing commissions just yet. There is what's called an unrepresented seller acknowledgement form, or in some states, they just call it a commission agreement form. Never, hear me out here, never, ever, ever take an individual interested buyer into a FSBO without paperwork on file. That means buyer rep from the buyer and a commission agreement from the FSBO. Always have that paperwork in place first. It's important. protect yourself. For the open house, yes, you want their written permission, and it can be pretty simple. You can text them the details. Hey, John, we talked about an open house Saturday on the 12th from 1 to 3. Just wanted to let you know, blah, 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 blah. Do me a favor and just reply back to this with any questions and give me a thumbs up if this is still good for you. That's written, right? You're going to have a text chain that you can save that says, John, I can verify his phone number, told me, yes, open house this day, this time, right? Don't overcomplicate it. You do need written permission, though. Some brokerages do have some paperwork that you can do to make it more formal, and that's fine. But you do want written permission to at least a text confirming it. Does Facebook work for higher priced homes? Yes, absolutely. I'll give you a couple examples of FSBOs that I've worked this strategy with. One of them generated me multiple, $700,000 qualified buyers. Any price point works well. If they do their own Facebook Marketplace ad and get more views, how to overcome that? Two things. One, very, 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 very few of them are doing it. If they were tech savvy, they'd understand the value of an agent. Don't stress over that. If they tell you, well, I'm getting really good reviews as well. Oh, that's awesome. We're doubling up because your audience is probably a little different than mine. I'm in different Facebook groups than you are. This is great, man. Between the two of us, we're going to find a buyer. This is awesome, right? Just be positive, be encouraging, and keep at it. So super, super easy. I'm just going through the list here. Bear with me. Do you have this script for us? Yes, I'm going to send you. I'm actually going to drop that in the chat in just a second. I got an entire Google Drive for you, including a pre-recorded coaching call that walks through how to find them. The 31-page FSBO guide, I'm going to give you guys that to use. A landlord script, FSBO scripts. I'm going to give you everything right in just a couple minutes at the end of the call. Save that document or save that Google Drive as your favorites. Everything that's in there is yours to go learn this with. It's super easy. Okay. Will this work at all price points in your market, even luxury? Yes, absolutely. I have done, I think in my little town of Keystone Heights, the median sales price is about 300,000. I have listed, was it 2.75 or $3 million really fancy lakefront home on Marketplace and generated conversations with buyers. There's no not good price point. It's a great strategy all around. Okay, let's dive back into it. So we're going to talk, I just kind of hit this, so I'm going to use this as how to market FSBOs in order to grow your business. We just talked about it. When you're putting the FSBO on Facebook Marketplace, Facebook will automatically ask you, what groups do you want to share this in? You should try your best. If you are in enough groups in your market, don't put it in a group that doesn't make sense, but you should be in all of your big name, all of your national, all of your state, all of your local buy, sell, trade, and farms and homes for sale, land and homes for sale, real estate for sale, and even your local buy, sell, trade groups. You should be in all of the groups in your market. When you post on Marketplace, also cross-post into all of those groups that are relevant. And what happens is people start seeing you post real estate. They don't know it's a FSBO. They don't know it's another agent's listing. They don't know it's your listing. They just see Walt Key is busy. And you will get people acknowledging and noticing that you're a busy real estate agent, and they'll reach out to you when they need something, or they'll tag you in a group because they've seen you post so much. They just assume like you're the guy or gal. Now, here's what's fun. I'll give you guys about 3 different examples really quick because I know we're short on time. When you market a FSBO, even if you do not list their home, you are generating buyers that you can get qualified with your lender and go shop. Maybe they buy the FSBO, maybe they don't. Most of them are only going to buy one house, right? So let's say I market a really good, again, real world example. I marketed a 2-story cabin on 2 acres on the St. Johns River, very unique, in Facebook Marketplace, generated tons of attention. Never sold that FSBO, but I sold millions of dollars in real estate from the marketing of that FSBO. I generated qualified buyers around $700,000 price point. I generated listings because a buyer was interested, decided not to buy the FSBO, bought a house with me anyway. And then after we bought a house, we listed their other house. I sold that house. There's no end to this perpetual cycle of business when you're marketing the FSBO. Whether they ask you to list it or not doesn't even matter. There's great, great business that you will grow with the listing and the marketing. So that's one example. Another one is I reached out to a for sale by owner to talk about marketing their property, seeing if, oh, sorry, but didn't mean to hit the button there, see how I could help them, etc. And after a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of conversation, come to find out that FSBO was an investor. And he's like, you know, Walt, I've worked with a lot of agents and they're not great, but you've got great communication. I love your follow-up. That was their words exactly. I love your follow-up. And he said, I'd love to just have you, I would love to try you out. Would you mind listing this house? Sure, happy to. Listed it, sold it. I'm the only agent he uses now. Every time he acquires a property to flip, I list his flips because I used this FSBO strategy and built a relationship with a FSBO investor who is now an investor that uses Walt Key to list all his properties, right? Amazing house. I'll give you another quick example. Reached out to a FSBO. Exactly the process and the script, and I'm working with you. 2 weeks later, 2 weeks, that FSBO called me. Hey, Walt, we need to sell this. Will you list it for us? Literally that matter of fact. Hey, Walt, we need to sell this. Will you list this for us? I said, you know what? I'd be more than happy to talk about that. Would you like to meet at the house and walk through everything? Yes. How fast can we meet? What are you doing tomorrow? Show up their house at 10 a.m. the next day, walk them through some comps. This is the strategy. This is what I think the price should be. This is how I market properties, professional photos, professional yard sign install, blah, 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 blah. How's that sound to you? What questions do you have for me? Their answer to that, what questions do you have for me? I'm sitting at their dining room table and they said, where do we sign the paperwork? I said, I didn't bring paperwork. I'm not that arrogant. I wanted to make sure you were comfortable first. I'll send you the paperwork to electronically sign today if you want. Yep, let's go. We're ready. Sold that FSBO in a weekend. They moved. They're still here locally. Like they're still friends of mine. They didn't leave the market. They just moved into a different house. And then months later decided, hey, Walt, I'm thinking about getting my real estate license. Which brokerage are you with? What's the best place to go do my pre-license course? Right? You never know how much these relationships work for you. So just build the relationships, add the value. You will grow your business whether you list the FSBO or not. Okay. And I already talked about that. Let me hit the chat one more time really quick, and then we're going to move on. Okay, I don't see anything too crazy. When you mentioned there, do you advise them if the home is obviously overpriced, still post regardless? Yes, still post regardless. In your feedback once a week, hey, listen, I've done this for a lot of different people, and I'm not quite getting the metrics I expected from yours. So I went ahead and just ran some comps in the MLS. And if I got to be honest with you, it looks like you're about X dollar amount over what the market believes is the right price. You might want to think about adjusting that price at some point in order to get this moving. Any questions about that? That's it. Matter of fact, I'm the professional. I'm going to talk to you like you're my friend. I wasn't quite getting the attention I expected, so I ran the comps for you, and the current sold comps say that you're X over what the market supports. Just wanted to let you know about that in case you ever wanted to make a price adjustment. I'm trying to help you any way I can. That's it. Simple. Okay. Common mistakes. Well, obviously, right, not doing this at all. As I mentioned, most people don't do this, and those that call FSBOs, they do not use this strategy. Use this strategy. It's a game changer. So what I would recommend you try is just 5 or 10 calls a week. Doesn't take a long time. It's nothing super crazy. And when I say 5 calls, 5 conversations. So if you call a FSBO and they don't answer, really, really simple voicemail, right? Follow me on this. Don't get wordy and don't get all professional on your voicemail. Hey, my name's Walt. I was calling about your house for sale at 123 Main Street. Give me a call back when you get a minute. Thanks. That's it. Not a bit of that is inaccurate. My name is Walt. I was calling about their house. I would like them to call me back. That's all I need to say. Hey, this is Walt, and I'm at Epic Realty. I live in Keystone Heights. I sell a lot of houses. I'd like to sell your house someday. Just look, my name is Walt. I was calling about your house. Call me back when you get a minute. Thanks so much. The end. We're calling the next one. You want to have 5 conversations a week. If you have 5 conversations a week with FSBOs, I will just go out on a limb and say you will be marketing 4 FSBOs a week. No exaggeration. Almost every single time. It's more like 4.9 out of 5, but you can't do 4.9, right? You're tracking me. When you offer this value, I'm not trying to list it. I'm not trying to convince you to do anything. I just want to see how I can help you. I'd love to bring a buyer, but I got to find the right buyer. And if I'm going to find the right buyer, I need to do great marketing. And if I'm going to do great marketing, I'd love to do some video content. And by the way, if you'd like, I'd be happy to do an open house as well to concentrate the buyers in the house. Boom, 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 right? Almost always they say yes. Maybe they don't say yes to an open house. That's fine. That's a bridge too far for them. That's fine. No worries. Maybe they don't say, they're like, nah, you can use my photos online. I don't need to do video. Hey, no problem. I'll use the photos that you got. It's all good. But at a bare minimum, they say, yes, I would love for you to bring me a buyer. Yes, you can market my house, knock yourself out. Those first two, 99.9% yes. The other value propositions, sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. You're just going to take that conversation as far as you can. And then at the end of the conversation, you're going to offer one more piece of value, which is, hey, gut check. Finding the buyer is just the first step. And this is a difficult process. Can I send you my guide? Okay. Calling for the wrong reason. I've touched that already. We don't need to go through that anymore, right? We're offering real value here. We're trying to help them. We are not trying to convince them to do anything they don't want to do. Okay. We are not going to have time for a breakout room because I have yapped your ear off and we're like 4 minutes to go. So we're going to skip the breakout room, but this is a great exercise for you. What I was going to tell you to do is go to Zillow, put in your city or town, and then use that draw map function and draw the radius roughly around where you would be willing to drive to put a listing on the market or to show a house, and just filter by owner posted only and just see how many FSBOs are in your market. You'd be amazed. If you're calling 5 to 10 a week, and sometimes more going on the market, sometimes some are coming off the market, you can almost always put an hour a week into executing this strategy. And then you're going to spend 30 to 60 minutes. The follow-up calls are really fast. It's a 5-minute phone call. Hey, Walt, it's John. Here's my stats for the week. Hope you're doing well. How'd it go for you? If it takes a 10-minute conversation, that's okay. If it's a 3-minute conversation, that's okay. But if you've got multiple FSBOs you're marketing, you'll still be able to follow up with everybody once a week in an hour or less. Track your progress. Make sure you've put them into some sort of CRM that you can follow along with so you don't get lost in the sauce, right? You can use a spreadsheet. You can use, a CRM that your brokerage provides, but keep tabs on them. Don't let them get lost in the sauce. You want to follow up every week. And then just track your progress and see how it goes. You'd be amazed how easy this can be to execute. All right, before we go any farther, let me unshare my screen. Misa, if you want to drop the sign up link to the newsletter, just in case there's someone on the call that does not already have it, I'm going to give you guys the resources before I let you go because I do not want you to miss that. So there's the newsletter if you're not already in it. The replay will be in the newsletter. This Google Drive has a 47-minute pre-recorded coaching call on this subject that goes in more in-depth on it, how to find them, how to work it. We review the scripts, the whole shebang. Also in the Google Drive is the 31-page PDF guide. There is 2 different FSBO scripts. You'll understand which one I've talked about today. The other one is for if you have a specific qualified buyer already in place and this FSBO matches their buying criteria, call them up and set up a showing, right? Go close deals with FSBOs with your buyer. Super easy. And then the last one is the landlord script. We didn't have time to really dive deep into that, but the landlord script is kind of a no-brainer script. You'll read it and go, I know exactly what I'm doing here. And we are right at 2 minutes to go, so I guess I timed it just right. Don't get off the call until you grab that Google Drive, bookmark it, save it, download the files to your computer, whatever you want to do. My challenge for you all this week is to go make some calls. The first one will be, the phone will be the heaviest. It'll be like a 50-pound dumbbell, right? You'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I don't know how this is going to go. I promise you, as you start having these calls, just handle that objection right up front. Listen, I realize you're getting calls from other agents to list your house. I know you don't want to list right now with an agent. I don't even want to talk about that. Is that okay? And they're going to go, cannot compute. And they're going to, what are you calling me for? Walk through that value proposition. You'd be amazed how well this works. All right. We are out of time. I hope this was valuable to you. Again, don't forget the resources. Everything you need to execute this strategy is in that Google Drive. You just need to put a little time on your calendar and start putting in the work. You will be blown away by how effective this can be as you grow your business. That is all I got for you today. I will let you all go. Have a phenomenal